What if I told you one of the most influential car companies on Earth almost never existed? That the cars you see today, legendary for reliability, engineering, and efficiency, were born from looms, not engines, and that the people behind them face challenges so extreme, it's almost unbelievable. Japan in the early 20th century was a country in motion. Steam engines puffed across industrial towns, factories were sprouting in cities like Nagoya, and modernization was sweeping through society. Amid this transformation, one man, Sakichi Toyoda, stood apart, not for the machines he built, but for the way he envisioned perfection. Sakichi was a craftsman, a visionary who could see flaws in machines that others missed. In his workshop, surrounded by wood shavings, metal gears, and the faint smell of oil, he worked tirelessly. He believed that a machine should recognize its own errors. A broken thread, a misaligned gear, or a flaw in operation shouldn't go unnoticed. And so, he designed the automatic loom, a machine that would stop itself the moment a problem occurred. This invention was revolutionary. Factories across Japan quickly adopted it, but Sakichi's vision wasn't just about money or fame. It was about precision, efficiency, and integrity. These values would eventually define the Toyota way, influencing manufacturing decades later on a global scale. Watching from a young age was his son, Kiyohiro Toyoda, who would become the man responsible for transforming a loom empire into a car empire. Kiyohiro observed his father's meticulous work, learning that every cog, every thread, and every decision mattered. But Kiyohiro had a dream of his own, a dream not limited to looms, but to the open road, engines, and the roar of vehicles yet to be born. By the late 1920s, Kiyohiro Toyoda began experimenting secretly with engines. Japan had no real automotive industry. Imported cars were rare and expensive, and local engineers had little experience. The challenge seemed impossible, yet Kiyohiro refused to accept the status quo. He studied European and American engine designs, dismantled machines to understand their mechanics, and worked night after night sketching, calculating, and testing. The first engine he built in 1935 was crude. It rattled, smoked, and sometimes failed entirely, but it worked. And this modest triumph marked the birth of Japanese automotive ambition. From that point, the Toyota family understood that building cars in Japan wasn't just possible, it was inevitable. By 1936, Kiyohiro had secured funding from the family loom business, Toyota Automatic Loom Works, to develop a full car prototype. He poured himself into every detail: engine efficiency, chassis strength, and even the comfort of the seats. Each problem required not just engineering, but creativity. Every test drive revealed flaws that forced him back to the drawing board, and every failure brought him closer to perfection. The car they finally produced, the Toyota AA, rolled out in 1936. It wasn't perfect. It was heavy, slow, and expensive by the standards of the time. But it represented something far greater than a vehicle. It represented Japan's ability to create, innovate, and compete on the global stage. Even with the AA, challenges loomed. The Japanese economy in the 1930s was unstable. Material shortages, rising costs, and political pressure made automobile production risky. Many advisors urged Kiyohiro to abandon the project and stick to the family's profitable looms. Yet he pressed on. The vision wasn't about immediate profit. It was about establishing a legacy, a foundation for the future. World events soon tested Toyota's resilience. As the 1930s gave way to the Second World War, Japan's industrial focus shifted to military production. Factories were repurposed, raw materials were rationed, and civilian vehicle production slowed drastically. Yet even in these extreme circumstances, the Toyota family maintained a commitment to innovation. Engineers refined engines, improved production processes, and experimented with fuel efficiency, all while knowing that the war might make civilian projects obsolete. After the war ended in 1945, Japan was devastated. Cities lay in ruins, infrastructure was destroyed, and the economy was in shambles. Yet this destruction became a fertile ground for rebirth. Kiyohiro Toyoda, now a seasoned engineer and visionary leader, understood that the future of Toyota depended not on past successes, but on the ability to rebuild, innovate, and adapt. Factories were reconstructed, often from rubble. Engineers worked tirelessly, facing shortages of steel, electricity, and even labor. The American occupation imposed regulations and required careful negotiation. In this environment, the Toyota company learned the importance of resilience, resourcefulness, and strategic planning, lessons that would later allow Toyota to dominate global markets. By the early 1950s, Toyota introduced the Toyota Crown, a model designed not just for domestic consumers, but with export potential in mind. The car combined durability with reliability, and even though it faced skepticism overseas, it began to establish Japan's credibility in the international automotive industry. If you're enjoying this story of vision, innovation, and relentless determination, make sure to like the video and subscribe to follow the next chapters in Toyota's journey. The philosophy that Sakichi Toyoda established with a simple loom, the pursuit of perfection, the commitment to quality, and the belief that every mistake is a chance to improve, was now embedded into every Toyota vehicle. Every assembly line, every engineer, every car rolling off the line carried the DNA of those early workshops. By 1960, Toyota was more than a company, it was a symbol that Japan could produce products that rivaled the best in the world. A company that learned from failure, valued its workers, and pursued excellence in every component. And all of this began with one man, one loom, and an unwavering commitment to improvement. This first part of Toyota's story shows us something critical. Success isn't born from resources, fame, or luck. It's born from vision, persistence, and a refusal to accept mediocrity. From the loom to the AA car, from secret engine experiments to the Toyota Crown, the Toyota family had established not just a company, but a philosophy that would define generations. And this was just the beginning. The global empire we know today, the Toyota that millions of Americans trust, the vehicles that carry families, executives, and adventurers around the world. All of it was built on these early struggles, experiments, and dreams. After the devastation of World War II, Japan lay in ruins. Cities were flattened, factories destroyed, and resources scarce. Many companies folded under the weight of this destruction, but Toyota was determined not just to survive, but to thrive. The philosophy that had guided Sakichi Toyoda with looms and Kiyohiro Toyoda with his first engines now faced its ultimate test. Could it endure in a nation struggling to rebuild from ashes? In 1947, Toyota faced its first post-war crisis. The company had no money, no stable supply of steel, and almost no domestic market. Many executives doubted whether cars were even a viable product in a country still rationing food. But Kiyohiro refused to give up. He believed that Japanese ingenuity could overcome scarcity, and he set out to rebuild Toyota one component at a time. The first challenge was production. Factories were damaged, and many of the machines necessary to produce cars efficiently were gone. Engineers improvised. They repurposed machines, salvaged materials from abandoned factories, and even designed hand-operated tools to test components. It was slow, painstaking work. Every car required hours of labor that would later be replaced by assembly lines, but each completed vehicle became a testament to resilience and dedication. By 1949, Toyota launched the Toyota Crown, a car designed not just for Japan's roads, but with a global vision in mind. It was reliable, sturdy, and designed to withstand the rugged conditions that many post-war roads presented. The Crown became a symbol. Japan could produce quality vehicles and compete on the international stage. But the road to global recognition was not easy. Exporting cars required not only producing a vehicle that met international standards, but also navigating complex trade regulations, foreign currencies, and skeptical markets. The United States, with its booming post-war economy, was a particularly important target. American consumers had become accustomed to domestic giants like Ford, Chevrolet, and Chrysler. Convincing them to try a Japanese car required not just marketing, but proof of quality, durability, and trustworthiness. Toyota began participating in international car shows, showcasing the Crown and emphasizing the company's commitment to engineering excellence. American journalists noted the vehicle's reliability and fuel efficiency, though initial impressions were cautious. It would take years before the average American would consider buying a Toyota, but the seeds were planted. Meanwhile, within Japan, Toyota revolutionized its manufacturing process. The company began developing what would later become the Toyota Production System, TPS. This system emphasized efficiency, elimination of waste, and continuous improvement, principles derived directly from Sakichi Toyoda's loom innovations. Workers were trained not just to assemble cars, but to monitor quality at every stage, identify defects, and improve processes. The result was a manufacturing operation that produced cars faster, cheaper, and more reliably than competitors. The 1950s were a period of growth, but also of experimentation. Toyota released several models domestically, adjusting designs based on customer feedback. They focused on fuel efficiency, safety, and durability, features that would later make Toyota cars highly desirable in markets like the United States, where gasoline prices were volatile and long-distance driving was common. Toyota also recognized the importance of corporate culture. Toyota fostered a philosophy that respected workers, encouraged innovation, and rewarded dedication. Unlike many factories worldwide, where labor disputes and high turnover were common, Toyota cultivated loyalty and pride among its employees. Every worker, from assembly line staff to engineers, was part of the company's mission to build the best cars possible. If you're fascinated by how Toyota overcame war, scarcity, and skepticism to build a global reputation, hit like and subscribe. Each part of this story reveals how vision and perseverance can change history. By the late 1950s, Toyota was ready to expand further. The company began exporting more vehicles, first to neighboring countries in Asia and then to distant markets. Each shipment was a test of logistics, quality control, and marketing strategy. Early exports often arrived with minor defects due to long shipping times or differences in local conditions, but Toyota learned from every shipment, refining its processes relentlessly. This period also saw the beginning of what would become Toyota's global identity. The company emphasized cars that were not only functional, but also reliable, affordable, and innovative. Advertising campaigns highlighted these qualities, while engineering improvements ensured that each car could withstand a variety of conditions, from congested city streets in Tokyo to the rough highways of rural America. Toyota's dedication to research and development became another cornerstone of its growth strategy. Engineers worked tirelessly to improve engines, braking systems, and suspension technology. The goal was simple: create vehicles that could outlast competitors and provide a consistent, safe, and satisfying driving experience. Innovations like the lean manufacturing method began taking shape, laying the foundation for what would later be recognized worldwide as the hallmark of Toyota engineering. By the 1960s, Toyota had established itself as Japan's leading automaker. But Toyoda and his team were not content. Their eyes were set on the global market, particularly the United States. American highways were expanding, car culture was booming, and Toyota saw an opportunity to challenge domestic manufacturers with vehicles that offered something different: reliability, fuel efficiency, and a fresh approach to automotive design. The story of Toyota during this era is not just about cars. It is about resilience, innovation, and foresight. From workshops salvaging materials to factories producing hundreds of vehicles per month, every step reflected the company's commitment to excellence. Each car that left the factory was a testament to the lessons learned from looms, engines, war, and scarcity. By the time Toyota prepared to enter the US market in earnest, the company had not only perfected its production system, but also cultivated a brand philosophy that resonated globally: quality first, continuous improvement, and respect for people. These principles, rooted in the Toyota family's original values, would allow Toyota to compete and eventually dominate on the international stage. By the late 1960s, Toyota had established a strong foundation in Japan, but the company's ambition had grown far beyond its home shores. The world was changing rapidly, economies were booming, technology was evolving, and consumers were beginning to demand more than just transportation. They wanted reliability, efficiency, and innovation. Toyota understood that its future would be defined not by the domestic market alone, but by its ability to compete globally, particularly in the United States. The American car market was intimidating. Dominated by giants like Ford, Chevrolet, and Chrysler, it was a place where brand loyalty ran deep and domestic engineering was revered. To even be noticed, Toyota needed more than just a quality car. It needed a philosophy, a promise that every vehicle represented reliability, performance, and trust. In 1957, Toyota officially entered the US market with the Toyota Crown, but early reception was mixed. While the car was well built, it was too small for American tastes and struggled to compete against the larger, more powerful vehicles that dominated US roads. Dealers were skeptical and sales were slow. Yet Toyota did not retreat. Instead, the company listened, learned, and adapted. One critical lesson emerged. Understanding the American consumer required attention to detail that went beyond mechanics. It meant studying driving habits, preferences, road conditions, and even cultural expectations. Toyota began designing models specifically for US consumers, cars that were slightly larger, more comfortable, and tuned for American highways. This approach marked a turning point in the company's strategy. Success abroad would depend on adapting to local markets without compromising quality. The oil crisis of 1973 further altered the automotive landscape. Gas prices skyrocketed, and American drivers suddenly faced a new reality. Fuel efficiency mattered as much as power and style. Toyota's small, fuel-efficient cars, previously considered too modest, now became highly desirable. The company had anticipated these needs, and its engineering foresight paid off. Models like the Corolla and Celica offered affordability, reliability, and efficiency, quickly earning the trust of US consumers. By the 1980s, Toyota's presence in the US had expanded dramatically. Sales skyrocketed, and the brand became synonymous with reliability. But the company's success was not accidental. Behind every car was a rigorous system of quality control. The Toyota production system, developed over decades, emphasized just-in-time manufacturing, elimination of waste, and continuous improvement. Every defect was an opportunity to improve, every inefficiency a chance to innovate. Toyota's engineers and managers were relentless. They traveled across the US, visiting dealerships, interacting with customers, and studying road conditions. They gathered data meticulously, using feedback to refine designs, improve suspension systems, enhance fuel efficiency, and ensure that every car could withstand diverse driving conditions. This commitment to continuous improvement became a hallmark of the Toyota brand worldwide. Fire if you're fascinated by how Toyota turned challenges into opportunities and conquered the US market. Hit like and subscribe. Each part of this story reveals lessons in perseverance, innovation, and strategy that changed automotive history forever. In addition to engineering excellence, Toyota focused on building a culture that valued workers and innovation equally. Employees were encouraged to speak up, suggest improvements, and take ownership of their work. This philosophy not only increased efficiency, but also fostered loyalty, dedication, and a sense of pride across the company. It was this culture that allowed Toyota to scale rapidly, expand globally, and maintain quality across millions of vehicles. The company's US factories, established in the early 1980s, became models of productivity and efficiency. From assembly line workers to engineers, everyone adhered to Toyota's philosophy of perfection through continuous learning and adaptation. Vehicles produced in these facilities not only met, but often exceeded consumer expectations, reinforcing the brand's reputation for reliability. As the decade progressed, Toyota introduced innovations that would further solidify its market position. Technologies like fuel-efficient engines, front-wheel drive systems, and advanced suspension designs helped differentiate Toyota from competitors. Marketing campaigns emphasized these strengths, positioning Toyota vehicles as not just economical, but as smart, dependable choices for families and individuals alike. Global expansion was another critical component of Part 3. While the US market was vital, Toyota also sought to establish itself across Europe, Asia, and emerging markets. Each expansion required adaptation, cultural sensitivity, and meticulous planning. The company carefully studied local preferences, road conditions, and regulations, ensuring that every exported vehicle aligned with both Toyota standards and consumer expectations. During this period, Toyota also faced significant competition from European automakers such as Volkswagen and BMW. Yet, rather than reacting defensively, Toyota doubled down on its principles: continuous improvement, lean manufacturing, and unwavering focus on quality. These strategies allowed Toyota to gain market share even in regions dominated by established brands. By the end of the 1980s, Toyota had become a global powerhouse, recognized for its engineering excellence, production efficiency, and innovative approach to automotive manufacturing. Vehicles like the Camry, Corolla, and Land Cruiser became iconic, representing reliability, durability, and consumer trust. The brand's reputation in the US was particularly strong, and Toyota had firmly established itself as a leading choice among American drivers. The success of Toyota during this era was not merely a story of cars. It was a story of vision, perseverance, and adaptability. The company had taken lessons learned from looms, early engines, war, and scarcity, and applied them to a global market with diverse demands. Every challenge became an opportunity to innovate, every obstacle a chance to reinforce quality and reliability. Remember, if you want to continue exploring Toyota's journey to becoming a global automotive leader and see how it dominated worldwide markets in the 1990s and 2000s, make sure to like the video and subscribe. You won't want to miss the next part. By the close of Part 3, Toyota had achieved what many considered impossible. It had transitioned from a small Japanese company with humble beginnings to a global brand recognized for engineering excellence, reliability, and innovation. The foundation for future growth had been laid, and the stage was set for the 1990s, when Toyota would not just compete internationally, but reshape the automotive industry as a whole. The 1990s, Toyota had firmly established itself as a dominant force in the global automotive industry. The lessons learned from early looms, post-war scarcity, and US market entry had created a company that combined engineering excellence, lean manufacturing, and a culture of continuous improvement. But the automotive world was changing. Environmental concerns, technological advancements, and rising consumer expectations demanded that Toyota innovate yet again. The 1990s brought a new challenge: the environmental revolution. Gas prices fluctuated, awareness of pollution increased, and consumers began demanding vehicles that were both reliable and environmentally conscious. Toyota responded decisively. In 1997, the company launched the Toyota Prius, the world's first mass-produced hybrid vehicle. It combined fuel efficiency with performance, proving that environmentally friendly technology could also be practical and desirable. The Prius was more than just a car, it was a statement. Toyota showed that it could lead the automotive industry into the future while maintaining the values that had guided it for decades: quality, reliability, and continuous improvement. The launch faced skepticism. Many wondered whether consumers would accept hybrid technology, but Toyota's research, engineering, and marketing convinced buyers worldwide. The Prius quickly became a global icon, symbolizing innovation and sustainability. Meanwhile, Toyota continued to dominate traditional markets. Vehicles like the Camry, Corolla, and Tacoma were already staples in the US, renowned for reliability, longevity, and low maintenance costs. The company's reputation grew to the point where Toyota reliability became a selling point in itself. Dealerships and mechanics around the world praised the engineering standards, and word-of-mouth endorsements drove sales across generations of drivers. But Toyota did not stop there. The company expanded its global footprint aggressively. Manufacturing plants were established not only in Japan and the United States, but across Europe, Asia, and South America. Each plant adhered strictly to the Toyota production system, ensuring that quality and efficiency remained consistent, no matter the country. Workers were trained in lean manufacturing, quality assurance, and problem-solving techniques, creating a network of highly skilled employees worldwide. The 2000s introduced yet another challenge: the rise of luxury and performance competition. Brands like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Lexus were setting new standards for comfort, technology, and prestige. Toyota responded by further developing Lexus, its luxury division, which quickly became synonymous with refinement, engineering precision, and customer satisfaction. Lexus was not just a brand. It was Toyota's statement that Japanese engineering could compete at the highest levels of global luxury markets. Simultaneously, Toyota continued to refine its mainstream vehicles. Research and development teams focused on improving fuel efficiency, enhancing safety features, and integrating advanced technologies. Innovations included anti-lock braking systems, airbags, stability control, and eventually adaptive cruise control and hybrid options across multiple models. Each step reflected the company's core philosophy: continuous improvement, attention to detail, and respect for the driver. The financial crisis of 2008 presented another test. Automotive markets around the world shrank dramatically, and many established companies faced bankruptcy. Toyota, however, leveraged decades of careful planning, efficient production, and global diversification to weather the storm. By maintaining high standards and strong cash flow management, the company not only survived but emerged stronger, with consumer trust at an all-time high. By the 2010s, Toyota had become a global symbol of reliability, innovation, and forward-thinking. Vehicles like the Prius and the RAV4 hybrid addressed environmental concerns, while the Camry and Corolla continued to dominate daily driving markets. Toyota was no longer just a Japanese company, it was a global institution. Its vehicles were everywhere: highways, cities, and rural areas in the United States and beyond. Millions of drivers trusted Toyota to carry families safely, efficiently, and reliably. In the modern era, Toyota continues to innovate aggressively. The company invests billions in electric vehicle technology, hydrogen fuel cells, and autonomous driving systems. Research labs around the world focus on creating vehicles that are safer, greener, and smarter. Toyota's philosophy remains the same: every innovation must enhance quality, reliability, and efficiency. Every challenge is an opportunity to improve. Fire if you've been amazed by Toyota's journey from a small loom workshop to a global automotive empire. Hit like and subscribe. The story of vision, perseverance, and innovation continues every day on roads around the world. Toyota's global success is built not just on technology or marketing, but on culture. The Toyota Way, which emphasizes continuous improvement, Kaizen, respect for people, and long-term thinking, permeates every level of the company. Employees are empowered to identify problems, propose solutions, and take ownership of their work. This philosophy ensures that innovation is sustainable, quality remains high, and the company can adapt to changing global markets. As of today, Toyota produces millions of vehicles annually, spanning everything from compact cars to SUVs, trucks, hybrids, and even luxury models. The brand is consistently ranked among the most reliable, safest, and environmentally responsible manufacturers in the world. Every Toyota vehicle on the road carries a piece of the legacy started over a century ago in a small workshop, guided by a man who believed that perfection was not a destination, but a journey. The story of Toyota is not just a history of cars, it's a story of dreams, resilience, and vision. From Sakichi Toyoda's looms to Kia Kairo's first engines, from post-war recovery to global dominance, Toyota has continually demonstrated the power of perseverance, meticulous attention to detail, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. Even today, as electric vehicles and autonomous technology reshape the industry, Toyota remains at the forefront. Its ability to balance innovation with reliability, global scale with local adaptation, and efficiency with quality ensures that the brand will continue to thrive for generations to come. Remember, every car on the road carries this legacy. Every innovation, every improvement, every vehicle produced by Toyota is a testament to one simple principle: never stop improving, never stop dreaming, and always strive for excellence. Make sure to like and subscribe to follow more stories about the companies and innovations that shaped the modern world.